Yeah, yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, here to heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? What's up, Eve?
What's going on, Dr. Winters?
Hey,
How
another
you
day.
doing?
You know, when you get my age, when you wake up every day, man, it's a holiday.
Holiday. That's a beautiful way of looking at things. I think that well, I think people are taking for granted the time that we've had to do things. So,
You really think
it's
so?
always I do. I think that we live in a very fast-paced society. So when things have to slow down, people don't necessarily appreciate that, or just the fact that they're still here. They might not appreciate that aspect of things. I'm here. Here I am. Hi guys. I'm I'm not sick, but I am feeling
Uh,
feeling the
so
season.
you're not sick, but you've got an allergy, huh?
Yes, I have allergies. I have my handy dandy. It's your favorite invention. That good old 2-ply from my nose.
Well, that's good. It wouldn't help me because I've been having a lot of mucus, so the tissue isn't good enough.
Um, in Chicago, I've never been to Chicago. I've never been to Illinois. I was thinking about like the middle of the country. I think maybe the most middle of the country I've been is Texas, but then I don't know if that's really the middle of the country as much as it kind of is in the middle if you're coming from the coast.
Well, I guess in a way, if you're going to, it would be a middle if you're talking about from you're talking about in terms of the coastline. But
Right.
then if you're talking about the interior, to be what Illinois, Indiana, stuff like that, Wisconsin. You
What's
know,
the pollen like out there? Or do y'all have pollen? Is it bad?
it's not the season yet. It's not enough plants yet.
That's
It's spring, but until what? Until around what? Till the middle of the 1st of April. This is April now though. So around May you start to see the flowers and stuff like that, you know, and
that's
things like that.
I guess it's because it's cold there. Maybe
Yes,
it's not.
it's still a little cold. I mean, hey, my the person who cuts my grass, he wants to get started right away. No, 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 no. I don't want to pay that money yet. Get out of here. I don't want to pay that money.
That's so funny. I oh, that's a good segue to a video that I saw. I saw this video of Jasmine Crockett talking about nobody wants to pick cotton or something like that. Um, but before I did that, y'all are just gonna have to excuse me tonight because, well, it's all sorts of people in this house who have allergies, and they all want something at some point because it's hard to sleep when you can't breathe, right? But
Yeah.
I saw this video and it was insane. I think they said it was a lake in North Carolina. I'm trying to find it. I well, and then I want to jump into the conspiracy land theories that I saw about the pollen.
A conspiracy about the pollen?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know they talk about there's not enough bees, to pollinate the plants, but I didn't know it was something about the pollen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Well, when you think about it, um, what's your favorite fruit? Do you like fruit?
Uh, let me see. My favorite fruit would be the Gauru watermelon. That would be my favorite. Then after watermelon, what would come next? That's about it. Watermelon, I used to have a lot of favorites back in the day. You know, plums and peaches. That used to be the thing back in the day, but now watermelon.
But okay, so then watermelon is a good example. They got seedless watermelon, and then they got watermelon that has seeds, right?
Yeah, but then they say the seedless stuff is supposed to be unreal and synthetic, But I don't know. I don't know. Everything is so synthetic over here. We don't know. We don't know if we might be eating. What was that? What was it in the movies? Sedgwick Orange. We might be eating up people. I don't know. I don't know. You don't. Come on now, Eve. You don't know because they can make the stuff up in the laboratory.
Well, I mean, I've seen some things with regards to what you're talking about right now, and the I guess the eating of people and stuff. They say if you see natural ingredients, natural flavors, this might be a little unnatural. But yeah, that's crazy, right? That's one tree. One tree.
What happened to it?
Well, I don't know why they're knocking it down, but they knocked the tree down, and that's all of the pollen that was on the tree.
What? That's pollen?
That's pollen.
Where was this tree at?
In North Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Look,
that's down around you then.
Well, that's right. So here in Virginia, we have a black vehicle, and then I guess we also have had a white vehicle. And black and white cars and trucks, those are not what you want to have when it's pollen season, because it turns all sorts of different nasty colors. But you can go outside to my truck right now in the morning and make a handprint if you want to. And then, my children, they're so fun with all their allergies, want to play in it, make little dust bunny wash me signs on the car. And then get in the truck, and then we're all having sneezing attacks, and it's like, what's going on?
It's a family affair. It's a family affair.
Hey, too funny. Want to roll around in the grass that they are allergic to. It's I guess I get it. I like to play outside, and my eyes would be all gooked up, the next day. But I think, you learn how to work with your issues, because now I have to wash my hair when I come in the house if I don't have something on my head. Is if I go lay down, even if I take a shower, y'all, I'm talking about like my actual hair, it holds pollen. And then if I go lay down and I haven't washed my hair, it'll be in my pillow. And then my whole face will be swollen and broke out crazy.
Wow. I don't know. We don't have that problem up here. Has it always been like that?
No, it hasn't always been this much, but I would say,
because
always, go ahead.
Because they said that airplane that be sending out those clouds along above the sky. I don't know. Maybe if it has something to do with that. I don't know what the hell is going on with a lot of this stuff.
This is how it looks in the morning, and they say POV North Carolina just because I didn't type in Virginia, but that's that is easily our car in the morning, or the streets yellow, or a shade of yellow green, but the pollen is on everything. And then, well, conspiracy land, you've got people saying that because the plants are being modified, there's not enough. Well, I guess if they're if they don't want the plants with the seeds, then maybe they don't want the trees with the seeds. But then I guess people think that the seeds are the boy plant, but it's not. That's actually the girl plant. So if there's no girl plants out here, then these boy plants are out here just pollinating on everything. And it doesn't have anywhere to go.
We don't know because in the so-called conspiracy theorist thing. So the conspiracy theorists, they claim we're in a war. They claim we're in a war in outer space, and that we're in a war and we're fighting an alien species, and because we're fighting the alien species, that's why they keep spraying that stuff across the sky every morning. I don't know about you, but in Illinois, you see these planes and they're always letting out these trails, these chemtrails, whatever it is. And I think that's somehow to try to impact on the insectoids that they're supposed to be fighting 7-foot insectoids. I don't know. But like I said, is that I'm not involved in that. So if they come, I surrender. Me surrender to you alien species. As long as they don't, kill the white man. White man done it. White man done it.
When you said the other day, one of our lives, that the aliens are little brown men, and then it would kind of make sense that the government, they don't want us to know about these extra.
They say they gray. They say they gray with big eyes. No, they're little brown that I knew, but they're kind of cowardly. But it seems like I saw this movie once, and this man was talking about his experience. It looked like it's the Anu and some Drabos. The Draco people. They're supposed to be, the Dracos are supposed to be shapeshifters. Most of them live in New Mexico. They say if you live in New Mexico, you can see them every now and then. Sometimes you can see their faces changing. Have you ever been to New Mexico? I haven't, and I'm not going. But
I have not been to New Mexico.
No, I'm not going to go to no. Sabe español, poquito español, sabe. But I know go to New Mexico.
I saw this one video about, I want to say it was maybe New Mexico or Arizona, but it was talking about some lights, and people see these lights all the time, and they're their lights, not their lights, but just that area's lights, and everybody knows about the lights. And then definitely people have been picked up UFO sightings and stuff. But I'm always like, well, if y'all know where the lights are, nobody's drove out to where y'all think these things are. And they're like, yeah, no, they're beautiful. We like them from afar.
That's a good thing. I used to really be into that back in the day. And because I was really, I really wanted to find out about the aliens. And then I was very disappointed,
I'm disappointed now because all of these still classified records and meetings that they're having at the Congress level and the House level, and they're talking about things that people have been told that they're crazy for. But then they're like, no, yeah, that's that. But we can't tell you about this other stuff because, well, you don't have the clearance for it. But it does exist. You just can't know about it.
Yeah. Now they show the spaceships. It's kind of complicated because you got two things. You got three things going on. The first thing is that it was these supposedly the Nazis. Supposedly the Nazis that they hooked up with some of the Dracos at the North Pole or the South Pole, one of them. And then they started building these spaceships, and so they organized a lot of factories in outer space. And after they organized a lot of factories in outer space, they used to go to Brazil and they would recruit people in Brazil to go work in these factories. They didn't know they was working in factories off planet, And and so then if you remember, it's about what? Isn't it about 400,000 missing black women or something?
Right.
They don't know what happened to them.
Right.
They could be out there. Those sisters could be out there working. They can't twerk out there.
Not like that. Speaking of work, though, you see the video I put down there? All right. Yeah. I don't know if y'all heard this when she did it.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation. That we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
A country of immigrants? What?
She's unhinged. She is unhinged, She's a cutie, and but the thing is that she has to sell the same stuff message that they want us to believe, but she doesn't understand is that FBAs, most of us have turned against immigration because of the fact we feel it's not benefiting us. We're not making any money off of it. They're not, they're taking away jobs that some of us would take. Maybe they would pay a decent salary. And, it's more than just picking, it's talking about who's going to pick the crops. Who's going to pick the damn crops? The same people. This is it. I read up on it. In California, they have contracts with various Mexican groups that come up every year and pick the crops and take their ass back home. They, come on now. This whole thing of it's the Venezuelans that don't want to go back. Take your ass home, Venezuelans. Go home. They're going to put them in that max prison. Did you see the max prison got about, what they said, they got about over 10 people per cell? Did you see them? Oh, wow. They got these max prisons where they holding some of the Americans down there.
Oh, no, I did. I think Yoshi posted a video of, was it El Salvador?
El Salvador, yeah, that prison down there. And, they're gigantic, and and some of the people they said might be in there for life, But again, like I said,
about the guy they said was deported. It was an error, but they can't get him back because he's out of our jurisdiction. Did you see about that guy?
Yeah, I saw that. That's right. He's out of that jurisdiction because they said they ain't going back to get his ass. This is, this is America. They're even advertising. They're even I think El Salvador. I think it's El Salvador, one of those countries. They're even advertising that they'll take some of the prisoners up here.
Right. I saw that.
Yeah, but they got one problem, and the problem is that a lot of these small towns in southern Illinois and Wisconsin, these small towns in states where there's a large black population. That's how they make their money with their prisons. They're not going to let America send their prisoners down there and they lose their job. That's the job for many white people in southern Illinois. I live in Illinois, in southern Illinois. That's their job to get the brothers that want to go to jail from Wisconsin. From Waukegan and Chicago. I say they want to go to jail. And the reason I say they want to go to jail is that, listen, family, they've got too many cameras out there. There's too many cameras. you cannot get away with nothing. You can't get away with nothing. You know, I mean, you know, they were talking about something that happened in Chicago where these people they stole a car, and then they took the car, and then they robbed some other people, and then they just covered the car. They just followed the car from where they followed the car from where it was hijacked, followed it all the way back to the people's house. Cameras in big cities like Chicago, they got these cameras
everywhere. And it's crazy. You said you're not going to get away with nothing, because you're not. And
No.
while I was thinking about the illegal who was squatting and then, you know, he got deported, this is a video that I think y'all appreciate.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
First, Tom, when you see that video, I'm curious, what do you think?
Well, he's wrong. He's going back to Haiti. I tell him that. And look, you know, I've said it on this network for 4 years. Joe Biden, you know, opened these borders on purpose. It wasn't a mismanagement. It wasn't incompetence. He knew exactly what he was doing. He made the promises while he was running for president, and he kept those promises. At least you got to give him credit for that. But yeah, they've opened this border up, and President Trump's going to secure the border, the highest level ever. You thought we had a secure border before? Watch what happens now. It'll be the tightest border in the history of this nation, and ICE officers are finally getting handcuffs taken off them, and they're going to put them on the bad guys throughout the country.
He said they're going to put the handcuffs on the bad guys, y'all.
Oh, got to get them, baby. You know, but you know, we got to be serious though. Is that you know, they did that too long. I don't understand. You know, Biden, and they bring these immigrants over here, and then when the immigrants come, they don't vote Democratic. They vote Republican. Since
Absolutely.
they vote Republican, it's a waste of time to bring them.
It's so crazy. Before I let this Mexican man talk, I just had a live the other day about we have a historic election coming up in my state, because the first female governor, this is going to happen, but it could be
Is she white or black or
well, that's the thing. Born? She's either going to be a Jamaican-born American or a white American. But either way, it's going to be a woman. And it's so crazy because the Jamaican, you would think that she would be the Democrat, right? Because she's we're all in this together type of person. But she's the Republican. And the white lady is the Democrat. And I'm just like, the roles are switched and reversed. And then you find out that, what's her name? Her name is Mrs. Winsome Earl Sears. Winsome Sears Earl. She used to be a Democrat until she got into politics, and then she turned into a Republican.
They should send her back to Jamaica. That name sounds Jamaican.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, she's definitely from Jamaica. And doing a little bio, she came from Jamaica to New York, and then from New York, nobody knows. Boom, now she's in Virginia, and she's a Republican, and she's in the House. And I'm like, damn, but when did this happen? And a lot of these little people who are strategically placed, I find that they happened right before my generation was old enough to do anything about it. And when I say old enough to do anything about it, you know, if you're 16, 17, well, you might be politically savvy and knowledgeable. You can vote. You barely driving. You barely have a job, and you still have to. You still have curfew. Like, you still a child in the law's eyes.
Is it 6 o'clock yet? Did the street lights come on? I got to go home.
Well, anyway, it's crazy. You said that. Go to bed. You said that they flip flop, and they do, because she at least self-admittedly flip flopped. But you can put the little thingy thing on the bottom. Okay, here we go.
Bitches, it only took 2 fucking days or one couple hours, you guys, and I'm back in the U.S. See, I told you guys this immigration shit wasn't gonna stop nothing, you guys. Nothing. It's not gonna do shit. We're all gonna come back. It's not. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm just waiting for my ride now. But you guys, I'm back. I'm back, and I don't give a fuck what y'all think. If y'all want to hate me, but shit, I'm back in the U.S. I can smell the chicken nuggets, the hamburgers. I just gotta watch out for ice around this parking lot because those motherfuckers be hiding. But we back in the motherfucking States, you guys. Y'all better not fucking report my fucking account, you motherfuckers, because then ICE will find me. But yeah, I'm out here chilling, you guys. I'm here waiting for my motherfucking ride. I'm back, bitches. It only
He's back.
He's back. He's back.
What? Look, the cojones on these people. How do you record yourself? Not only are there cameras everywhere, and they can't tell us who are these black on black crime perpetrators. Fine. But you got cameras, and this person is geo-satellite locationing himself on the internet, saying that he's breaking the law, he's illegal, he's back. And I'm like, if the government really has all of these systems in place for, if you start trying to look up how to build a bomb, ooh, ding, 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 that IP address is looking up how to, even the library, you go to the library, you look up, you ask them for the book on how to make a bomb. Well, they're going to put a little asterisk next to your name because they keep a record of this type of shit. So in the time of phones, everybody knows where you are. Your location is tagged. He's saying, don't report my account. You're reporting yourself right now. And damn, the law is not the same for everybody, y'all.
But it's I think about the fact that what is the future? What does the future look like? What I mean by that is that on it seems as though America is on decline, and it is on decline. But what does that mean? What does that mean to us? If it's on decline, every white civilization lasts about 200 years. And this one has went about 246, and so it's about time that it's in decline. But what does that mean about us? You see, because just because the United States is going into decline, does that mean that we're going to go into decline? Does it mean because this is how I see America. I see most of the white people, moving eventually up to Oregon, Wyoming, and up there. I see many of the black people controlling much of the Midwest, and parts of the South. But the thing is, this is that I don't know what the economic base will be. I don't know, but I know in a sense that it'll be different. It'll be different. But see, when we think about most white civilizations, when they collapse. But see, we have this problem here with FBA. We don't collapse. In addition, not only we don't collapse, but we innovate. We make the invisible become visible. We make the impossible possible. I mean, that's why all the civilizations around the world are based upon our inventions. What is that? The telephone and the light bulb. Those two things. And then when you add Elijah McCoy, what he did in terms of machines, the industrialization, everything is based upon us. And so then therefore, I don't really know how to view the future. But I do see decline, but I don't know what type of decline that's going to take. I don't know how that's going to look, because see, the thing is, this is that we're not going to let it fall. what did I say? Oh, we're not going to let it fall completely. We built this. We built this country.
That's we definitely built this country. On the different apps, you'll see people from they're not from America, but they're in America, or at least they speak English pretty well. And then from there,
They're gonna flee. They're gonna flee. See, most
they
of them,
tell us that
most of them,
Babylon is burning, you know?
right. They're gonna flee, and
I
they're
find
gonna.
that's the easiest way to get people off their square. You know, tell them their house is burning down, and then you can just swoop right in and claim that piece of property because nobody's there.
Yeah, but they're not going to want it because see, the thing is, they're not going to want it because see, it's not going to be under white supervision. You know, because see, white people are going to throw their hands up. They don't know what to do. Right now, they want to start a civil war. The only problem is that they want us to be the cannon fodder. And we're saying, if you want to fight, fine. And then they're saying, but we need you to fight. What side are you going to take? And then we're saying, hey, I like that leather couch. Anyway, so the thing is, this is that they want us to take a side, and we're not going to take a side because it has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with us. They've never really given us our full justice, our full citizenship, and we've never really wanted it. Aren't you gonna come back? You gonna let me say that? You gonna let me say that without you questioning why I said that?
I think that it's the time thing. I think I get your timing of things and how you word things, but I think maybe the chat might need to understand why it's so laissez-faire. Is it like a ça va,
laissez-faire, do as you please. As you please.
Why now?
Well, the thing is that they're losing their senses. They're losing their control. Remember, we keep white people stable, and we keep white people stable. I've said this many times. They used to have a nigga in the closet, and when they were about to do stupid stuff, they go say, "Nigga in the closet, nigga in the closet. What should we do?" And nigga in the closet say, "Massa, boss, y'all hooking up. Well, what y'all need to do is do this and do that." But see, now they don't have any. Now they don't have any niggas in the closet. They got Benjamin in the closet. But Benjamin. I'm not trying to be racist, but Benjamin is about making money, and because Benjamin is about making money, when the stuff hit the fan, they going back to Europe, Saudi Arabia. You know, throughout history, when black people ruled, they was black. Now white people rule it, they white. Benjamin is always going to make sure that he's in that number. He's going to always make sure that he makes money, you see. And so then he's got no problem. But see, now we have a very unique situation, Eve, is that another white civilization is about to hit the dust, which is Western civilization. You know, usually in Europe, it ends in war, like what's going on in Ukraine now, you know. Usually they go into war. Over here in a sense where we have the real white people, you know, you can only have white people in the United States. Because
go ahead.
Because Caucasians don't like each other. And because Caucasians, they don't like each other. And because Caucasians don't like each other, the only place that they can be white is over here, you see. And so we have a problem. So we got all these immigrants here, and these immigrants, they think they're slick, but they follow the white man. So when the white man, when things start bad, they gonna flee with the white man across the border, you know, because yes, they're gonna flee back across the border. Then the Black Messiah is going to come up. You know, his name is going to be George. The Black Messiah is going to come up, and he's going to say, now let's make the country. See, I see most of the white people in the West. I see black people in the Midwest down through the South, and then you got another group of white people in the North, in New England, you know, and so everybody's going to have their own nations, you know, and you know, we'll just have to figure it out then, you know.
It's crazy that you say that, because I think that people don't recognize that big truth that you just slid right past. You can only be white in America the same way you can only be black in America. We are on some two sides of a coin right now, and the coin is in the air. You know, somebody flipped it, and it's just suspended in space right now because, well, white civilizations, like you said earlier, they're really not supposed to last this long, but we were not supposed to last this long. So I find that our fates are very much intertwined.
They are.
There, yeah,
exists. But they're going to still find a way to fuck it up, though.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Like, you saw that movie Get Out, right?
Yeah.
I think that was masterful because maybe people understood a very shallow interpretation, which is that white people are going to try to take over your consciousness. Okay, but that's actually what's happening. You know, you've got other frequencies coming in, other programming, you've got zero control over it. And then maybe there are people with resources doing that demon thing that y'all like to talk about, the devil worship, Luciferian complexes and stuff, and bathing in blood. And maybe they can transplant their consciousness into a person. Y'all are saying that Gucci Man is a robot, Meghan Markle is a robot. There's a lot of robots out here. Maybe they're not.
They even say it. They even say it's clones. They even say it's clones.
There you go, clones. And right. And then if that is the case, right, then why would Joe experiment on himself like this? He knows what's in that shit. And was he the white sacrifice that America needed to do some things? I don't know, because Obama didn't drink that water. So for what it's worth, you know, maybe we've got some common sense up here when it comes down to the things that you have to do to exist in those arenas and environments. But if America's on the decline, it's a very slow decline because we haven't declined. But as soon as we decline, then I think that it all goes to shit. And then maybe we go through another ice age, and then the earth does what it's supposed to do. And then the people who are supposed to be here, survival of the fittest.
Well, you know, but see, the thing is that a lot of that stuff was supposed to take place in the 80s. But, you know, in the 80s, a lot of the psychics had predicted, you know, that the Pacific was going to go all the way up to Colorado and stuff. And much of the Midwest was going to be gone and all that. So those things were supposed to happen. But what happened is that if people think positive, people can change. People can change so-called future events. And see the thing is that, you know, we haven't given up. I'm talking about Black people. FBA people have not given up. We've not given up. And then on top of that, we're willing to let America trip. Let me explain to you. FBAs are willing to let America trip. You know, that's when you fall. But we don't want a total decline. And see, but Europeans, you know, the white people, they don't know what to do until they destroy themselves. They went so many times where they had literature and they lost the literature. They had books and they lost the books. And they're on the precipice right now. They're on the edge of falling down, and they don't know what to do. They you know, just like they want to fight a revolution so bad. They want to fight each other so bad, but because we won't choose a side. You know, you got immigrants like Kamala Harris, and you got some of these other you got some of these, other black immigrants. They've chosen the Democratic side, whereas we feel the Democrats have not done nothing for us, and so we don't really want to vote for them. And we feel the Republicans, then they never did nothing for us. So then many of us have chosen. That's a beautiful couch you have there. It looks really soft and comfortable.
Nice.
But again, it looks like it. It looks real comfy. My couch is okay, but it's, but it's you got a 300-pound guy sitting on the side. I don't know how long it's gonna last. So, but
it's more reliable than them Democrats have been. So
that's right. And so then we have that big problem. And so then and it is so beautiful. It is so beautiful to see the dilemma that the European is in, and the dilemma that his bootlicks are in too, because his bootlicks do not know what to do. What do? They've been trying to talk our language, reparations. I mean, even if you notice, even the right, black people on the right want reparations, and credit Tariq Nasheed, and so then they don't know what to do. Are we gonna get those niggas money? If we get those niggas money, most of them are not going to buy Nikes. Most of them are going to want to start businesses and send their kids to Harvard. And then when their kids graduate from Harvard, they're going to set them up in businesses. And they're pretty soon, in a sense, they'll be making more money than me. No. We can't let that happen. No. And so that's the dilemma we're in. They've reached their limit. 200. America's lasted 246 years. White civilization do not last that long. That's why they're doing everything they can to destroy themselves. They're doing everything they can to destroy the stock market. They're doing everything they can, and it's an instinct in Europeans. It's some sort of instinct. It began with the Romans, but it's some sort of instinct that they feel that the 200 years is enough of being civilized. I want to go back to being wild. You see, but as I said, the dilemma is that we're living among them, and we decided, hey, I like it just the way it is. We built this mother, so no, I don't want it all to go down, And and like Russell Richardson said, Democrat, Republican, a distinction without a difference. That's right. They offer big money, but at the same time, they're afraid, because the only way the Democrats can get back in power is if they really go back and support the democratic issues that we voted for, why we supported them. And they're not going to bring those issues back, because those issues, in a sense, would benefit us. And so they don't know what to do. See, this is it. Let me explain to you, Eve.
Tell me.
Every time the European goes through a process of trying to set us back, he always, in a sense, sets us back about 2 steps, and then we move 8 steps ahead. You see?
Yes.
And so then, therefore, in a sense, is that he's saying to himself, we'll keep trying to keep these Negroes down. What's wrong with it? Feasibility is God. What's wrong with it is that we have faith in God. Because we have faith in God, anything is possible, You
That's
had a
right.
video you want to show?
Yes, because he said they don't know what to do.
How do you get out?
Dr. Phil.
There we go. Hey. So, from where?
Right here.
Oh, where's he from?
Where are you from, man? No, I'm from. Well, where were you born in? Thailand. Thailand? Yeah.
Okay, prior deport, sex offender.
Sex offender.
Child or you got to follow him.
It was facilitate criminal sex with a child over computer.
Okay. Prior deport, sex offender, dealing with children. Walking the streets of Chicago. What's your name?
Jada.
What's your name?
Jada.
Jada, what? You have a first and last name?
Sam.
Jada Sam?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where are you born?
Thailand.
You've been deported before from the United States?
No.
Never been deported?
I've been in the system before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been charged with
Charged with?
before?
I'm not a sinner. I'm charged by lawyer.
Yeah. Are you a citizen?
My mom says it.
Your mother's a citizen,
Yes.
but you're not?
Nope.
But you've never been deported before?
You Dr. Phil. You got Dr. Phil.
Yeah? How do you know me?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, on TV.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is an example of sanctuary cities, right? We got an illegal alien convicted of sex crimes involving children. He's walking the streets of Chicago. Again, the downfall, the problem with the sanctuary city, that people like us walking the street rather than local law enforcement working with federal agents. This is what we're dealing with. Yeah. You've been charged with sex crimes with children?
Not really.
Not really? And never been deported?
Nope.
Huh. Well, that's not what your record says.
Okay.
Your record says you've been deported.
Well, I'm sure.
Russell in the chat, he said Dr. Phil is out of his depth. I couldn't agree with you more. And it was, Black Lyran, Dr. Phil liked that shit. He's like, hey, you know me. Oh, you watched me in Thailand? Oh, no, you probably watched me here in America before you got deported that first time. But Tom Homan is a Republican. I'm going to say that Dr. Phil is on the side of Oprah, and Oprah was telling us to vote for Kamala. So, but maybe Dr. Phil is not on the side of Oprah. I don't know. But what I see is a lot of both sides of their argument trying to get together to understand what's going on. And it's funny to me because as I sit on my comfy couch with my popcorn and my comfy blanket, they're all glitching. Dr. Phil is like that looked like a glitch to me. And Tom Homan, he's not the best speaker that I've ever heard, but he tries to get his message out and he tries to be consistent with, not putting words in the president's mouth and being consistent with who he wants here and what he's going to do about these things. But at the end of the day, I already showed you that Mexican man who was very proud and loud. And while his eyes were very shifty and he's looking all around, so maybe he's a little scared about, ICE popping up. He's not worried about nothing because he knows that it's just a political theater, maybe. Like, why would Dr. Phil be on an ICE raid? What would be the purpose of that? He's
not afraid because remember, murderers, everybody. Crooks are usually caught in small towns. They're usually caught in small towns. You can hide out in a big city for years. Because we don't look at each other. And because we don't look at each other, then we don't know, oh, that person, where did he come from? He just got here. See? But in a small town, everybody knows everybody. Yeah. And so, hey, who's that over there? I don't remember him. Where's the police? Go check that sucker out. Whereas if you're living in a city like Chicago or in a suburban area of Chicago, that's just, you don't know your neighbor anyway. Maybe that's a friend of theirs. Just like I noticed, at first in my development, you could just see maybe one car in the driveway. Now I'm seeing in many of the driveways around here, maybe 3 to 6 cars. What does that tell me? That tells me that a lot of their children or family is coming back living with them.
Right.
Because they've lost their jobs or something that they're back. They're coming back and their cars leave. They're gone by 8:00. So many of them are working, but they're not making enough. And see, that's the biggest problem is that many people are not making enough to really live in these apartments, and rent these apartments. Some of these apartments want at least $2,700. I mean, $1,700, and you're not going to ever own the place.
Mm-mm.
You know,
That's insane.
$1,700, and a lot of times, in a sense, you're not making that much. I mean, what they say the average salary of the average black person is $22,000 to $30,000. I mean, come
Right.
on now. 22 to 30,000, you know. And then I saw this sister on YouTube saying, "Nigga, you should have went to college." That don't matter. Hell.
Well, so that you can have all this debt and still not make the money that you're supposed to be able to make. People need to humble themselves because they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
And then they're out here loud like Jasmine Crockett. Y'all not picking no crops. And then clearly people in the audience had something to say about that because she gave them that look, like that little bombastic side eye. She tried to mammy them. And you know, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's when you say no to the white person and then they kind of clam up and then they go get the black person who's supposed to make you fold, but then you know that person can't make you fold.
But plus you want to be sassy. She's cute too, so that helps a lot.
Well,
You know.
I think that her income has helped her looks. If you look at Jasmine before she got all famous, her hairpiece don't look the same, and
Oh no,
it look a little different. Looks a little like, you know, that
rancid.
come up. Once you say that you'll do anything, they say, okay, well, we got some funds for you.
Yeah.
And well, that's the same story for a lot of these mammies. But I couldn't move off the fact that she tried to get the crowd to go against what they were telling her, because I've had this argument. People keep saying, well, who's going to pick the crops? If y'all hadn't moved the niggas off the land, you would have people picking the crops, but you would have to do things that make sense. You know, you can't steal crops, can't take it for free, can't make them do this.
But the crops are going to be picked because they have contracts with the same people for the past 20 years that's going to come up from Mexico, pick the crops, and take their ass back home. That ain't no problem. That's no problem. We're going to pick the crops.
Look, and that's the original migrant worker. You know, they have terms for all of these people who are here, and then they want us to not like the fact that they were so proud about their blunt labeling. So then we, humanitarians that we are, say, oh, that's not politically correct to call them an illegal. You can't call them an alien. But our president just he did that Aliens Act that, you know, means that people can be treated.
But you got a problem. You got a problem with your Venezuelans and Haitians. For some reason, Venezuelans and Haitians, they don't understand you're not here to make any damn money. You're not here, but see, you know, a lot of times they umbrella, you know, that black grandma and stuff, they still got a little too much blackness in them. And so then that makes them want to be bold and go, no, be humble and sit your ass down. You know, that's what you're supposed to be, like the Mexicans. And so then that's why they have a problem.
Like the Mexicans.
Yeah, the Mexicans, they know. They
come up, pick the crops, go back home, and the world goes round.
Right, and they get them a nice crib down in Mexico, and the family be okay. Just stay away from Guadalajara, so the drug lords can't get their ass and take all their money or skin them alive. You know, just stay away from the drug dealers, and you're okay. You know, go down to what is it, Oaxaca? Go down to Oaxaca and all that. No. Don't be up in the north now. Now it might be some trouble. You know.
It's when you remember some months ago last year, the bridge in Baltimore.
When you got hit by the boat and stuff.
So they were talking about the workers and how, you know, a lot of them were migrant. I don't know legal status of these people, but some of them were here and have been working for 20 years, like you said. But the equal exchange, to me, if you're here because you want a better financial opportunity, fine, because people are hiring you to do these things. I can't be mad at you, the little peon. I'd be more mad at the people hiring you and incentivizing you to come here. However, it's the ones who get here and then stay. The key, thank you, Miles, in the chat. The key bridge people, construction workers, the stories that I was reading was like they're sending the money home. You know, they're trying to retire home. They want to go back home. They don't have the money at home, so they go to where the money is, but then it's all about getting back home. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense to me. If you're a person who's just here to make some money and then go, it's the ones who are here and they say, oh, it's nice here. And it's like the Goldilocks and the goddamn bears. You know, we got people eating the porridge and trying to sleep in the bed and then get mad when the bears come home. And it's like, wait a minute. Not only is it a goddamn bear, but what are you doing? Like, at some point you had to have thought that there was going to be a consequence for your action, but you know, they make Goldilocks. She's not black. I mean, I got
blonde hair, baby.
But
you got blonde hair, baby. You got blonde hair too, baby.
It's
blonde
true.
hair more fun. Come on now.
Blondes might have more fun.
Stop it. I'm gonna stop this stuff right in the butt. Family, do not let Eve give you no sad talk. When Eve started dyeing her hair blonde, the point is this is that the whole world looked at her in a different way. Damn, that's Sister Bad. That's Sister Cool. That's Sister got it going in. You know, and see, they didn't understand that she was trying to make sure that you don't see the gray hair. But you're not supposed to do that.
Oh, you telling on me.
Hey, my wife, I love my baby doll, but I know why she used to like it brown or blonde. But the thing is, this is that it's the beauty of it. And see, that's the beauty. That's what I love. That's what I love. I love a Black woman who understands that this is my world. This is my world. I don't have to live it the way you want me to live it. I don't have to live it the way you want me to live it. I don't have to live it the way you want to live it. I can live it the way I want to live it. And see, that's the beauty of it. See, and see, that's the whole problem with Crockett. See, Crockett ain't got a man yet. See, when Crockett get a steady man, and she feels loved, when she feels loved, or if she feels that she thinks she in love, you would see a whole different woman. But see, right now she's aggressive. She thinks she want to move this and move that. And those guys who was in love with her, by the time she turned around and say, damn, I need a man, he gone.
He'll be married with kids already, babe.
He's gone.
The way it is.
That's right. He's gone. You should have grabbed his ass when you were younger. But the point is this, is that my belief is this. I'll tell anybody, do not set your life up for a bunch of regrets. Do not set your life up for a bunch of regrets. Take the chance, take the opportunity. That's the one thing that I thank God is that a lot of things I wanted to do in my life, I went on and I tried it. Some of it worked out, some of it didn't work out. But the point is this, is that when you go out there, you can be successful. I remember my wife had a dream once back in the 80s, 90s. I forgot when it was. And then I said, we used to talk about our dreams every morning. We would talk about our dreams. What'd you dream about, baby? Blah, blah, blah. What'd you dream about, baby? Blah, blah. And so she said, well, the only thing that I remember my dream is the words education is good and boldness is better. And so then that's what I try to instill in my children, is that you can get the education, that's fine, but you got to be bold. You got to be bold. And see, that's why we're in the positions we're in today. You see, just like a couple of weeks ago when you said, where's the scholarship? Where's the scholarship? And so that was beautiful, because see, I know that now you decided you're gonna be the scholarship. You're gonna do this. Why are you gonna do that? Because I said I'm gonna do that.
Right. Because I said I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
We have to be bold about things. I saw a lot of people had things to say about my blonde hair.
What's wrong with it?
You know, you're the only person who understands the biology aspect of it. But I mean, yeah, more fun for someone. Look, you made me laugh because I saw this picture today. Can you see it on the bottom? Somebody made this picture, y'all. Can you see it?
I am the Black Authority. Hey, look, he's a little kid, they say, I guess.
But look. I said, why I gotta be a white man?
Eve.
They said it's just the lighting. And I've been laughing probably for about
It's
an
not
hour.
just, it's that, I'm gonna tell you something. Eve, it is so hard to get Chat GPT to do what you tell it when it comes to making Black people. Some things I cannot do that. Will you make this one? Will you give him a dark complexion? I cannot do that. That is against my rules. It's they need. I'm glad they don't have a voice. I know it would be spooky because I look at a lot of movies. It'll be spooky. No, I'm not going to do that, Clyde. But I'd like it just a little bit darker, Clyde. But I don't want it to be dark. I'll never forget when I was talking to Yoshi, and Yoshi to get Chat GPT to talk about my research, he had to talk to Chat GPT and say, I want the research of Dr. Clyde Winters. Oh, who is he? Well, let's call him the researcher. And that was the only way that he could get Chat GPT to talk about my research.
That was an excellent show that y'all did.
What's that?
That was an excellent show that y'all did. Because if y'all didn't know, your AI, it is a tool like the internet, and it's an interactive tool like the internet, but it's more a fast food mentality for you first world people. So while you're older than me, so maybe you were using the computer in more depth than I was when I was using the computer. But I remember Ask Jeeves, which would be before you Googled it. You had a question, you go on Ask Jeeves, and then it gave you the answer. And it's, I guess it was like a database of sorts. And then you've got Google and the little search engines. You ask your little question and it gives you places to go. Now you ask your AI and it gives you, it's like the same, but different until it starts glitching. But then when it glitches, do you just give up? No, you have to figure out a way to make the tool work for you. And when you guys said that you were going to refer to you as the researcher, it was like, bet, let's talk about this. And then it started just spouting off information. My AI is not as sensitive about you, but it would not allow me the decency of calling you the superior researcher with regards to what we were chatting about. And when I'm asking it about Afrocentric scholars, and this is about our conversation about where is the scholarship, who is the scholarship, and it wouldn't say you, it would give other people. But then when I ask about their work and where they're getting their work from,
they got nothing.
It referenced you. And I said, well, wait a minute. If it's referencing you for the person and place that these other researchers and scholars are getting their information from, well, wouldn't that make you the primary researcher, the superior researcher? And it says, well, he's got a lot of controversial stuff out there. And I'm like, well, what's controversial? And then it says, elephants in America, Olmecs. And then it had 4 big things that it says that you are too controversial, and that's why you haven't been deemed that's why it wouldn't use superior researcher for you. But it did give you all sorts of accolades, and people use you all the time. And of course his research it's groundbreaking and all of these different nice words. But still, it was it said something like, well, he's not in any academic databases. So then I'm referencing JSTOR, which is an academic database. And it said, yes, he's actually listed in there multiple times for multiple things. And my point, you guys, is that having a conversation with the AI kind of seems pointless, but when you're showing them where to get the information or showing it where to go for the information, it's downloading that. And then the next time you talk to it, it doesn't have to do so much work unless it's a controversial topic like Foundational Black America, reparations, Dr. Winters specifically. I haven't found another person that I've tried to research where it gives any type of hiccups, only you. So I don't know. Maybe your research is just that upsetting for the people who are in charge of these things that they got you in the algorithm.
See, the thing is this, is that real scholars just don't write books. Real scholars write peer-reviewed journal articles, you know. Okay, and so the problem that you have is that, so just like right now, if you put in there, you know, what is the Black scholarship, you know, it's going to be hard for them to tell you who's the Black scholars are, because the fact is that very few of them have published articles. A lot of people have published books, Gates and other people, but a book is not recognized. See, a book is not recognized as authentic research, you know, because a book in a sense is usually a compilation of a whole lot of other people's works, you see. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you publish that research article, you know, it's different. You know, like Shanice, she sent me an email, and Shanice, I'm going to get to you soon. I just been doing other stuff. I get carried away, and she wanted me to send her some quotes so that she could put in the book that she's doing. Some quotes, you know, from my books, my articles and books on the Omex and all that. And so then, but the thing is, this is that, you know, that's real scholarship. Real scholarship is publishing articles. They can be peer reviewed or articles, period, you know. And so then, you know, like ancient history or something. Ancient history, I wrote articles in ancient history for about 3 years, about 20 articles, something like that. But the thing is, this is that it's being bold. It's being bold. See, you're bold. You know, but see, the thing is, this is that we don't have any mentors. We don't have any mentors that we can look at. See, if I said, okay, who are my mentors? It would be Jay Rogers and W. Du Bois. And they were dead, but I had to look at them to find out the methodologies that they gave. But see, I've written a couple articles on methodologies. I've written a couple articles on how you can be the researcher and how you can do the research. Whereas in the sense that I had to learn how to do the research from looking at the way other people did their work. And by looking at the way other people did their work, then I could do that, you know, because see, Paul Robeson was my hero. And the reason that Paul Robeson was my hero is because, number one, he played football. And number two, he was a polyglot. You know, he knew a lot of languages and things like that. I'm not a polyglot, but I could learn languages easy back in the day. Now my mind is all discombobulated. When I was younger, though, I mean, I could compartmentalize Tamil here. I could put Chinese there, Mandi right there, you know, Sumerian, maybe down here. But now I might just start talking and I might just start saying anything. In the same case, Swahili, someone kind of what the hell? You know. And so then, but that's the beauty of it. I'm so proud of you in the sense, you know, Eve, is that you do want to deal with scholarship, and I'm hoping that you'll get the chance to be a leader of a future generation that really is concerned about writing the truth, telling the truth, and doing the way they are. What it creates so far, as they said, research by looking at the way other people do their work. I find it easy to do that by uploading the work of multiple researchers into an app called Notebook LM. Yeah, that could be pretty good in a sense. But the thing is, this is that it's a lot of good apps out there, but I had to look at people. I had to look at how W. Du Bois did it, how Diop did it, And but see, I was very lucky because see, I grew up on 47th Street and around on I used to live on Evans and around on Cottage Grove. It used to be a masjid for the black Muslims, and they, black Hebrews, black Muslims. So they was always talking Arabic, so I picked up a little Arabic. A kid, what you saying? Assalamu alaikum. Okay, assalamu alaikum. And then I had a super good French teacher, Missy Manaz. She was a black Puerto Rican. She taught Spanish too, and she used to teach us phonetics and orthography, how to really pronounce the words and make them sound real good. When I back in the day, I used to have a beautiful French accent. But again, in a sense, that was because I was trying to develop a language so I could be rapping. But again, in a sense that I took French for 4 years, and so I could read it real good back in the day, and I could write it good too. Now I'm kind of, because I mixed up so much up in here, But what I like, Eve, is that you are trying to really develop scholarship, and I hope that you can be successful in that.
I appreciate that because it's what you said about scholarship that really kind of moved me. And what I've been learning about, unlearning and relearning, and I don't know everything, and there's probably nobody that knows everything. And then we have to look at who's already out here doing things
and seeing they're black.
Skip Gates is a person that between him and Neil deGrasse, I think that these are the only black people in academia that we're supposed to know about. And then they say things that make sense, and then they say things that don't make sense. Excuse my voice, but just check this out real quick.
Working class counterpart. That is the union that should have been affected so often in the history of America.
And that goes back to Jamestown between the indentured servants and the slaves.
Yes, right. And think about this. Slavery itself was race and class fused. A slave is a living economic commodity. A slave in America was a black person who was not a human being. It was a black person who was a commodity like the pigs and the horses and the chickens on a census record. So slavery was race and class fused. In other words, race and class has always been fused in the United States. And Martin Luther King realized this after the passage of the Civil Rights Act in 64 and the Voting Rights Act in 65. He began to move toward an economic analysis.
And that's when he was assassinated.
And that's when he was assassinated. And I heard Calvin Butts on a stage in New York say, you go up against the empire, that's when you get crushed. And
he says that laughingly, right? But that's not anything that I think we need to be laughing about. When Martin Luther King Jr. started going more economic and they murder him, assassinate him, that means something. It's not something we just laugh about like, oh, when you go against the empire, Star Wars reference and whatever. I was really offended by that because he's not wrong, but he doesn't care.
But you have to understand that he's a literature major. He's a literature major. It's sad. There's about even Asante. These are men who were literature professors. I mean, they knew Richard Wright's work, and they knew the research of other black writers and authors, but they didn't know history. They didn't know how to interpret history. They didn't know sociology. They didn't know, in a sense, anthropology. These were literature people. And so the European, he was so very smart. See, the European, he always said, oh, you want this nigga? I'll give it to you. But he always give you a half-hand of shit. He always give you a half a loaf. Always give you half a loaf. I'll give you a black guy, but he's not going to be qualified to talk about nothing.
Right.
Except the books he's read. And that's why every Gates, Asante, every head of black studies departments was always a guy who had a PhD in literature. Not a guy who had a PhD in political science or a guy who had a PhD in history, you see? And one of the reasons were because, I mean, how many you know, today we got a few black people with PhDs in history, but they're so damn messed up in the mind that they may as well not even have a degree in Afro-American history, because they don't even know nothing about themselves. You know, they don't care about themselves. They're not really looking at it. And see, the most important research, the three most important things that every black child should know is, number one, that we're foundational Black Americans. Number two, we were here before the Constitution was written. And number three, our surnames are not our slave names. Those are the three things we need to know. You see, those three things is that you are FBA. You have been here before this became a country. And two, we don't, our surnames are not our slave names. All of our parents wasn't raped. And sometimes it's sad to say, but sometimes the black people was on the same plantation. They was being owned by relatives. You see?
I'm glad you said that. I just saw a video of Skip Gates talking about these blacks who own slaves, and he was so adamant about how, you know, it's not just white people. Y'all got to get off that, the bad white man, when there was blacks owning slaves. And I'm like, okay, if we're going to accept that as truth, then there's some other truths we're going to have to accept, which would be Oliver Cromwell was black, you know, and then from there, it's a lot of unlearn, relearn, because if you realize that a lot of the Irish that were indentured were black, and then they turn into enslaved for the rest of their lives, you know, a lot of these things make sense. You know, they say that it's a bunch of European groups that didn't used to be white or didn't used to be able to call themselves white. It's because they weren't white. They were black. Right. And then you've got more eager and ambitious white people who did the thing that we all know them to do, which is invade, usurp, colonize, and steal. So people, your identities have been stolen all across the goddamn planet. People are saying that they are this group of people, and y'all know that they're not this group of people. Point, and I guess another point with this is, if you've ever used the argument that white people couldn't have been slaves in Egypt, you know, those specific white people, because they have issues with the sun, you know, and Egypt being so close to the equator and the sun, ain't no way. And if that's the case, then who are these people who are saying that they are these other people? And then could that be a story that is similar for other groups of people? I think so. But that colonized mind, you know, if you don't care who you are, then you will accept anybody's label. We didn't accept African American when Jesse Jackson tried to label us African American 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
If we didn't do that 40 years ago, why would we do it now? And then you've got continental Africans saying that they don't want to be considered African. I saw like 4 different videos of people from the motherland saying that they don't want to be called Africans. It was like an African braiding video, a food video, and then just some social commentary. But they said that it is denigrating for us to reference them as the Africans. But I'm so confused because y'all want to call us African American. Y'all literally just came from the continent of Africa.
Well, see, the thing is this, that you got to remember is that you know more about your history than the average African knows, because his country is what? His country
brand spanking new.
That's right. They only came about in the 60s, so they don't really have any birth certificates. They don't have anything. Right. Then Ethiopia is a little older, but Ethiopia, we always had to come and save their asses. We had to save them during the Italian War. You know, over there now they're talking shit when we're the ones who saved them, kept them from being a colony and stuff. You know, and so then we're the ones that freed South Africa. Because I mean, damn, I'll never forget. Stevie Wonder started singing. And black people. I was in the teachers union. We said, hey, we don't want our money invested in South African companies, and they had to get "Let My People Go." I love that video where they had this, they're getting ready for April 5th, and then their sister be about to get out of there. Where you going? Get back down. And it was the April 5th videos where they was, kept telling me, get back down, sit down, get up. It was I love those videos. They be getting ready to go out to go. And then they cover them behind their face.
She said, "It's not your fight. Go back to sleep. Go take you a day off." People said if there were black people out there, you should have been selling hummus and T-shirts. And that would make sense to me. I get it. I was thinking though about these black slave owners with regards to my state, Virginia. And this is a segue, you guys, but I'm sick of this shit from seasonal affect disorder, when people are all sad in the wintertime, to I'm sad in the beginning of the springtime because I can't breathe. My eyeballs itch all the time. And then, I have to, like I said, I have to wash my hair every day. And if I don't, I will go to bed and wake up with a swollen face and eyeballs and nose and all sorts of stuff. But
you might have to get you a bonnet.
Well, as I'm saying, if I cover my hair when I go outside, I'm good. I just take my little hat off, and
but then they saying you ghetto if you got a bonnet on. So what can you do?
I can't win. There's no winning. But look, I've had to think about this because if I'm from where I'm from, which is my ancestral family is from Virginia. Well, I didn't grow up in Virginia. I'm here now. And, my family's from here. And the pollen, like you said, has it always been like this? And I'm like, conspiracy time. Are they trying to tell us that we are not of the land if the land is attacking us? Because I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. And
they may have done things, because remember, those they're not spraying that stuff in the clouds for nothing. Those cam clouds and stuff. They're not spraying it for nothing. But again, it is so sad, Eve, that we don't know half of what's going on. The only thing I know, I think I'm Clyde Winters. That's what my mom and dad told me, but they may have lied. They may have really named me Alfred, but they may have changed their mind. But I saw my birth certificate, it said Clyde, And so that's my name, baby. But the thing is, this is that we only know. I like to tell people this. We only know what the old folks tell us because we weren't there.
Right.
But the beauty of it is this: is that when you can be a warrior, and see this is the beauty of the black warrioress, or the black warrior female, is that if you try to knock down a sister when she's talking, that makes you look weak. So that's why sisters could really talk ish back in the day. Because that makes
sense. What are you gonna do? Beat up on a woman? But no, some of you beta boys out here, y'all enjoy that. That really makes you feel some kind of way.
Right. It's not so much like it, but I remember when I was young, it was some girls who looked like they used to like boys who would whoop their ass. I didn't understand. Because my wife, she would have, that better not touch her pretty ass, But again, but she had maybe she was a pretty girl. So pretty girls are different. You girls who are pretty, y'all just don't cut me with a razor, baby. Don't cut me with a razor, please. Don't cut me with a razor, please.
No, that's real. Y'all can look at the news of some of these third world countries that people flee from and see, women who have been thrown acid, have had acid thrown on them or burnt up. And, they used to be very pretty. And well, now they're not, I don't want to say they're not pretty anymore. I guess it's about, the insides that matter and
No,
stuff.
it ain't about the inside. That's what they tell you. No. If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, just make a pretty woman your wife.
Hey.
Personal point of view, and like the girl, they can marry you. But
those bars. That's
I mean, you might find a wrong one, and inside she might be a bitch. But the thing is, this is that at least you can look at her and stuff, And
it's something to look at when the pollen's not kicking your ass.
That's right. But I mean, what are you marrying somebody who want to marry? You didn't want to marry that ugly dude. You remember that ugly dude in class and at church who was looking at you and said, I wish he would leave me alone. Damn. But damn, why you always want to bring me something? I don't want this shit. What I mean? But hey, the thing is this, but why won't Johnny do it? Now, Johnny, that would be different. Johnny, he looking at Marianne. But again, in a sense, this is the whole point. And this is what I'm talking about is this family is that we've got seasonal affect disorder. We upset, we got these allergies, and then we trying to take that medicine. We trying to, in a sense, get your medicine ready. So you can make sure that you feel better tomorrow, get your ibuprofen. But remember, in a sense, there is a tomorrow for somebody. There is a tomorrow for somebody. And if we can share the love, if we can share the progress, you see, and I want everybody out there, family, I want you to say a prayer tonight, In your prayer, I want you to say, Our Father who art in heaven, please protect Eve and allow her, in a sense, to become the leader of the Black scholars of the future. That's our motto now. We want you to get that scholarship going, and we can have our scholarship. We can have, in a sense, our Black think tank. I do a Black think tank on Sunday. I decided nobody else, so I'll be the Black think tank. But one day, in a sense, we'll get some other people, and we'll get it together, and we'll get it done. Did you want to have a final comment about seasonal affect disorder?
Oh yeah, I do, because it was an unlearn and relearn moment for me. I've always known about seasonal affect disorder as long as I've been studying what we eat, and the American diet is also an acronym, SAD, the standard American diet, SAD. Seasonal affect disorder, SAD. Both of those things, SAD. And I used to think, and when I say used to, I mean last week, I don't think this way anymore. Last week, I used to think that the new year started in the spring because that's when new life is happening. That's when things are growing. And I used to be very upset at our colonized minds thinking that the new year started in the dead of winter. Unlearn, relearn moment for me. After the winter solstice is when we start gaining back light. We get more light every day. And even though their math is all sorts of jacked up with regards to the months and, which year we're actually in, our time, space, place, I can appreciate the fact that little nuance means something. After December 21st-ish, and we start gaining more light, and then we spring forward, depending on where you are in the country, maybe in a part that doesn't have that, because time zones. What's a time zone? But what I'm saying is that it's not a time to be sad, and maybe it really is a time to appreciate what is to come that is new. And then when spring gets here, you've made your plans, you've already kind of set the standard for the rest of the year. And as a person who is a farmer, gardener, I got some plants outside, right?
You're a farmer.
The allergies are kicking my ass, and I'm like, damn, the season affect disorder is just following me through these seasons. But it's more about the unlearn and relearn. If my planning during the cold time is gonna benefit me, then I spend more time inside and level up, get stronger. But I'm doing that with my plants too. My little seedlings, I can't put them outside just yet, even though we've had 86-degree weather. Today it's 40 degrees. It's that type of temperature jump. You can't take that as a person. So maybe we use the reflective and connecting environments to do what we need to do. And if you're saying that, the think tanks and the scholarship is where you see me based off of how I've been talking, then I will be using these moments to fine tune and, get stronger so that come summertime when FBA Sunday School starts our third year, 3 years, we will have something really powerful to present to the family. So I'm appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you. Da, 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 da. It is a time that seems a little weird, but I'm going to get it together, and that is what we're going to do. Buy my book, Nationality and the Law. In this book, we discuss the importance of race and identity among many African Americans. I explore the genesis of the so-called blacks from an ethnogenesis of Black Irish, Black Aboriginals, and Sub-Saharan Africans. In this book, you will understand how they were separated into two races and why we call, in a sense, the Caucasian race the white race today. Buy my book, The Nationality and the Law. You'll enjoy it.
What's up, everybody? It's Eve. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube for space recordings and special live programs. 2024, we're doing things a little different if you haven't peeped game by now. So yeah, this is your chance. You can do it now if you want. Hit the bell here on YouTube at JustEveB, or find me on X at Justice4Just_Us. That's JUSTICE. 4 JUST_US. And if you feel so inclined, support my channel and the work we do over here. The Cash App and Patreon links are in the description. Black first.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
To speak up, if you're not going to speak up, if you're not going to speak up, if you're not going to speak up, on your fears so them not stay away. Control your atmosphere. Don't let them take your energy. Control your atmosphere. Control your atmosphere. Don't let them suck your energy. It's a distraction away from me. I am you and you are me. If you're not going to speak up, support the one.
The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one.